जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैम, अस्सलाम वालेकुम sir. So this is Mohammed Ghouhar
Walaikum assalam.
Pirzada, and I'm going to start I'm MPhil scholar in the University of Management and Technology, and please allow me to start the presentation.
Yes, please. Please go ahead. Start your presentation. Start your presentation, please.
जी मैम. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. There's a saying in Chinese language: give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, feed him for a lifetime. This quotation has a strong connection with the topic of my dissertation today, which is exploring TVET trainers' understanding about engaging instructions, a qualitative study, which is done under the very kind supervision of Dr. Yar Muhammad, who's my supervisor. Introduction to the study. Engaging learners to achieve a high level of academic performance and other educational outcomes has become a challenge for most TVET trainers. Technical and Vocational Education and Training, TVET, is a unique education and training system that mainly focuses on the developing a practical knowledge and understanding of employment in any specific sector, trade, or group of professions. The most exciting part about TVET is the knowledge it provides towards the market needed learning and the curriculum that focuses on attaining employment competencies. This suggests the shift from competency-based training for an effective and value-laden TVET. In the context of a developing country like Pakistan, the TVET sector has mostly been neglected since its formulation, as the priority has always been given to the general or mainstream education. This research has been explored trainers' perceptions about engaging instruction during their training assignments, and it has encompassed various significant factors associated with the phenomena by involving trainers both from the public and the private sector. The literature review of the part includes various concepts and phenomena related with this, starting from the TVET reforms in the Pakistan that suggest that TVET has the potential to make a significant contribution to improve the situation of the country. The literature review also considers factors affecting learner engagement, including an improved social support system, creative tasks, and a friendly school environment that encourage learners to grow. The literature review also covers the role of trainer in learner engagement by suggesting the shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered approach, which has increased learners' learning and involvement. It also covers challenges for the trainers to suggest training is an essential part of the knowledge and skill upgradation process. The conceptual framework borrowed for this research was initially worked by the US and Canada to engage students, and later it was engaged by the Australian Survey of Student Engagement as well, with the 6 facets that are shown in this slide as well. With a little modification, this conceptual framework is being used for this research with factors including learning challenge, active learning, work integrated learning, supportive learning environment, enriching training experience, and trainers and participants interaction. Research problem. TVET sector plays a significant role in the development of any country. It has substantial contribution in developing a skilled workforce as per industry requirements. Moreover, it shares the burden of the traditional education system and provide a different stream to accommodate students. Therefore, it is high time that all the aspects of the TVET sector and training must be studied comprehensively to explore its full potential. This study covers a gap in the literature, as the significant chunk of the literature focuses only on the student engagement of the traditional education system, whereas TVET trainers' perspectives, their perceptions, understanding, and practices are the areas that are still underrepresented in the current literature. The purpose of the study is to explore TVET trainers' understanding of engaging instruction, and the research objectives. The 6 research objectives include: number 1, to explore TVET trainers' understanding of learners' learning challenge for engaging instruction; 2, their understanding of active learning for engaging instruction; 3, their understanding of work integrated learning; 4, understanding of supportive learning environment; 5, about the enriching training experience; and 6, to explore TVET trainers' understanding of trainers and participants' interaction for engaging instruction. Similarly, the research questions which are derived from the objectives, the 6 ones include: the first one, What is TVET trainers' understanding of learning challenge for engaging instruction? 2, their understanding of active learning for engaging instruction. 3, about work integrated learning. 4, about supportive learning environment. 5, about enriching training experience. And 6, research question is, what is TVET trainers' understanding of trainers and participants' interaction for engaging instruction? Under the methodology, I've chosen phenomenology as the research design for my study because I wanted to incorporate these life experiences of all my participants. The purposive sampling has been used as a sampling technique because the research required specialized people who've been working as TVET trainers in the field. Semi-structured interviews have been followed under the data collection method, considering the qualitative nature of the research, and thematic data analysis was used in the data analysis part. The research study was conducted in the provincial capital of Punjab, the Lahore city. Data was collected from 21 participants who have been working as trainers and are doing other prominent jobs in the TVET sector. The participants' inclusion criteria that I've followed included that all participants were working in the TVET sector. They all had experiences of conducting training. They all originated from the city of Lahore. They all had access to internet and Zoom application. All participants were willing to share their experiences voluntarily, and they all approved of the recording of their online interviews for the transcriptions. This shows the demographics of the 21 participants, including 10 participants from the public sector and 11 from the private sector. We had 13 male members and 8 female participants, and their experiences ranged between 2 to 20 years. Interview guide was designed that included 28 questions on concepts, but according to the flexible nature of the qualitative research, the interviewees had a great deal of margin to answer the interview questions. The 6 steps that I followed under the data analysis part included the first one as familiarization with the data, in which I kept on reading the data time and again multiple times because I wanted to develop a deeper cognizance of the linkages. The second step was coding, which I did with the help of NVivo software, and later the data was transferred to MS Word. The third step was generating the initial themes, and the fourth step was reviewing the themes, which were done to further narrow these down. The fifth step was defining and naming the themes, which was a little challenging for me because at one stage I had massive data. I did it very carefully by analyzing the data and categorizing under the tags of different themes. The sixth step, which was my favorite step, was the writing up, which I did by incorporating the analytical description in relation to the existing literature. The finding, moving on to the finding of the study, the first part of the interview guide was the 3 questions about general perceptions, beliefs, and behavior of the participants, which had 3 questions. Number 1, their perceptions about the importance of TVET sector, where all participants believe that TVET sector plays an essential role in the socio-economic development of the country. The second question was the expected role of TVET teachers, where participants shared, most of the participants shared that the teacher has a balance between the theoretical part and the practical aspect of the training, which is also evident from the words of participant number 13. The third question was expected TVET trainers' competency, where most participants believed that trainers were doing their job professionally. Nevertheless, they require further training and upgradation. I quote participant 6 here. Trainers also need mentors with a broader vision to guide them and cascade their learning. This explains the 6 emerging themes from this research, along with their subfactors. I'll explain each one of that one by one. The first theme was participants' understanding and perception about learning challenge, under which the first question was views on participants' engagement, where the data said that participants' engagement is the most crucial factor for successful and meaningful training, and effective two-way communication laid the basis for that. The two-way communication was stressed by all participants. These were the words of participant number 16. The next point was preferred medium of instruction, where all participants shared that they don't want to stick to one particular language. In fact, if I quote participant 7, I even use Punjabi language and poetry and quotations in Saraiki. It helps me to create that powerful connect with my audience. The third area was application of theory and practice. And if I could quote participant 6, this gives us the flavor of all the data that we got from other participants as well. Excessive use of theories can create boredom among the learners, specifically in the TVET sector. The next point under this theme was trainees' participation practices, where participants shared their ways of engaging with their training participants in the initial part of the training. I quote participant 13 here. Over the years, I have learned to encourage trainees to interact. And if they do not speak much, I start questioning them. This element of questioning was highlighted by most of the participants. The next area is participants' reaction towards assignments and assessments. And the data suggests that participants like easy tasks, and usually they would prefer doing these in the groups. The next area is participants' participation about new ideas and concepts, where most of the participants shared that it was hard for them to handle the senior trainees because they were reluctant to learn new things, whereas the younger trainees are more enthusiastic about learning new concepts. The last point under this area was trainers' participation to enhance participants' engagement, where our participants shared how do they enhance the trainees' engagement. And I quote participant 11 here. I believe demonstration and practical application earn the area and the trainer a good reputation. And this will be smoother if we are efficiently and effectively prepared. The second theme was participants' understanding and perception about active learning, in which the first question was about defining an interactive training, where all participants give their definitions of what exactly interactive training is for them. I quote participant number 2. It certainly requires two-way communication for turning the training interactive and practical. So this communication part was enhanced by most participants here. The second area is experiences of group discussion in the training. The data suggests that people love to learn in group discussions. Participants want to interact with each other instead of communicating with the trainer all the time. These were the words of participant number 3. The third area is experiences of presentations and projects in the training. And the data suggests that some participants get anxious and they are reluctant to face the audience. It is usually about their lack of confidence. However, after the training, as quoted by participant 7, I've always seen a tremendous amount of trust and confidence in them, and in their performance levels get drastically higher. We must provide them with such opportunities more often. The next area under this theme was engagement in community service or volunteer work. And to my surprise, most participants shared that this has never been a priority for the public sector and not even an attraction for many private sector TVET agencies. Although participants shared that their trainees were more interested in working in areas including social inclusion. The last area under this theme is discussion forums for the participants, where participants suggest that they do it with the help of WhatsApp. They create WhatsApp groups for participants to have a forum, and they share that technology has made their lives easier. The third theme emerged from this research is participants' understanding and perception about trainer and participants' interaction, where the first question was about perception about interaction with participants. I quote participant number 8 here. Not only the appearance, but also the trainer's body language and confidence matters a lot. We have to be calm and patient all the time. The second part was beyond conversations in the training room, in which the participants shared that their conversations with their trainees is not confined to the training room only. The third area was role of informal interaction, where all the participants believed that informal interaction were most impactful. Besides the coverage of the content of topic of training, it also helps remove barriers between the trainer and the trainees, said participant number 5. The next area under this theme was a role of feedback in interaction, where all participants believed that feedback was critically important, both on the part of the trainee as well as the trainer. Participant 7 said it is also very effective in keeping a good balance of interaction between the trainer and the trainees. The last part under this theme was the personal style of interaction with participant, where all participants shared their personal styles. And if I quote participant 6, trainer's interaction style builds the reputation which stays longer than the duration of any training activity. I maintain the level of decency and professionally covering the training is always at the top of my mind. This was her words. The next theme under this research is participants' understanding and perception about enriching training experience, with the first area of defining and enriching training experience, where participants shared their own beliefs and their experiences of how they define the training experience. I quote participant number 21 here. Um, Participants believe that whatever knowledge they get from the training, new knowledge that they get from the training, is something which define their idea of enriching training experience. Participant 21 said, participants would remember and cherish the new learning they get from practicing what they when they return to their institutions. The second area was instruction for engaging participants, where all participants shared that either casually or formally they put the housekeeping rules in the start of the training, which stays throughout the whole course of training. The third area is role of diversity in enriching training experience, in which, interestingly, age came out to be an interesting factor here. Participants believe that the senior participants were, they called them challenger. I quote participant number 17 here. I've usually experienced participants above 50 years to be little lazy and less enthusiastic about learning. The next area under this theme was engaging participants with different religious and political backgrounds, where all participants were found quite comfortable, and they said that they do it very sensitively. I quote participant number 18 here. If I have Christian trainee in my room, I'll try to create a balance by giving some examples from their religion too. The last point under this theme is personal style for enriching training experience, where all the participants shared their own personal styles through which they believe that they enrich the training experience. I quote participant number 1 here. I always arranged field trips and industrial visits for my trainees, and I believe this enhances their enriching training experience. The next theme in this research is participants' understanding and perception about supportive learning environment, with the first area of role of supportive learning environment, where all the participants believed that these were extremely important and one core reason for the success of any training. However, a few participants, like number 14, said that things are still not that upgraded in the public sector. The second area was trainers' role in the developing for supportive learning environment. Again, unanimously, all the trainers believe that one person who has the most responsibility of making training a success is the trainer. And this is their role, which is important to support, to develop the supporting learning environment. The third area was role of admin in developing supportive learning environment, where we had a mix of answers. The majority believed that the trainers were doing double the work by doing the work of the admin side as well. I quote number 17, participant number 17, lack of coordination and not building rapport with the admin could be devastating for the training. The last area under this theme was participants' socialization and interaction with each other, where the data suggests that the more the participants get connected with each other, the more they shall enjoy the learning experience. I quote participant number 3, I try to engage participants together, starting from developing enjoyable ice-breaking activities to formative and summative group activities. The next and the last theme under this research is participants' understanding and perception about work integrated learning, with the first point of KSA, knowledge, skills, and attitude approach, which was highly encouraged and highlighted by all participants. It was said that a training without following the KSA approach is useless in my view. Participant number 9 said that. The second area was role of OJT, on-job training, which was again majority of the participant. In fact, everyone suggested its importance. I quote number 14 here. The true spirit of CBT is kept by giving the trainee a hands-on experience in the actual work environment. Otherwise, it's like teaching people how to drive a car without making them sit in the steering seat. This was participant number 4. The third area under this theme was engaging participants in specific job-related occupational skills, where if I could quote participant number 11, unless I do not engage my trainees to sit in front of the machine and produce the design layout, the whole concept of training is useless to me. The last point under this theme was their views about online training, where all participants believed that this was an altogether different experience. If I could quote number 9, I have to use different strategies and methodologies. I have to continuously learn new ways to engage instruction and ensure my participants are with me throughout the whole course of time. In the discussion part, I've tried to relate the findings from this research with the literature with the data, the literature that already exists. It is highly crucial for a TVET trainer to have knowledge about the role of competencies of the teacher, and development and curricular activities are highly affected by teachers' competencies. This was supported by the existing literature. Similarly, another thought, the teacher's competencies affect not only students' attitude, but also their own performance. Again, this is supported by the existing literature. And trainers' competencies and using a learner-centric approach can significantly alleviate the level of students' interest. Again, this was supported by the existing literature relating to the TVET Center. In the conclusion, I would suggest that the current research study has focused on TVET sector particularly, and trainers' understanding of engaging instruction has been our central research area. It portrays trainers' clarity and understanding about teachers' expected role and competencies who are working in the TVET sector. The study also presents the need for positive interaction between the trainer and the trainees. The role of trainer is dominantly signified in enriching the learning experience, and the application of KSA in balanced manner is also stressed by the participants. It is hoped that participants' detailed description in the study will guide policymakers in improvising the training practices in the TVET sector. And finally, it also provides thoughtful ideas for improving TVET training interventions in both the public and the private sector. In the suggestions for future research, I've given a detailed research suggestions in my report. I'll just quote few here. The TVET trainers' understanding of engaging instruction using online training means can also be explored in future. And similarly, since we have explored trainers' perceptions in this study, I believe teachers' perceptions and even the experiences and perspectives of TVET learners could be explored in future study as well. TVET trainers' practices and performance in the public and private sector could be explored with an evaluation between the two. We have not included the perspectives of the industry representatives in this study, which could be explored in future, and a bigger sample with a comparatively much bigger number of responses can be collected in future to conduct a study using the quantitative research methodology. That could be done in future as well. The perceptions and experiences of female trainers in detail could be explored in future research, because this is also a very promising area. And similarly, the perceptions of TVET trainers on the basis of different trades or subjects could also be done in the future study. With that, I thank you and I welcome any questions.
Thank you very much, Ghouhar. जी डॉक्टर साहिबा.
वेल डन गौहर, बहुत अच्छा आपने काम किया है और रियली ये बड़ा रिग्रेस काम है. मेरा ख्याल है कि हमारा जो TVET सेक्टर है दैट इज वेरी इफेक्टिव इन प्रोवाइडिंग आवर मैन फोर्स एंड जो भी हमारी इंडस्ट्री की डिमांड्स हैं, एक बहुत बड़ा हमारा मैन फोर्स जो है दैट इज रिलेटेड टू TVET सेक्टर. तो आपने बड़ा अच्छा ये काम किया है और ये क्वालिटेटिव आपने इसके लिए मेथोडोलॉजी चूज की है. डेफिनेटली ये बहुत इनसाइटफुल है और बहुत मतलब कि हमारे लिए ज्यादा आपने अच्छा है. आपने रिकमेंड किया है कि क्वांटिटेटिव भी होना चाहिए, लेकिन मैं समझती हूँ कि क्वालिटेटिव स्टडी से जो चीज निकल के सामने आती है, शायद क्वांटिटेटिव में नंबर गेम में हम शायद उस इनसाइट्स उस तरह से नहीं ले सकते. तो आपने बिल्कुल अप्रोप्रिएट जो है स्ट्रेटजी वो यूज की.
थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू सो मच मैम.
क्या है सब ये आपकी सुपरविजन में डेफिनेटली आपकी इनपुट और आपकी जो डेफिनेटली आपका भी बहुत इंसाइटफुल कंट्रीब्यूशन है इसके अंदर, जिसकी वजह से पिरज़ादा ने इतना अच्छा काम किया है. तो मैंने तो कुछ थोड़ी माइनर हैं, बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है, राइट अप के हवाले से में थोड़ा उसको करना था. बाकी कोई इतना ज्यादा खास मेरा ख्याल है कि मैंने इसको पढ़ा है, बहुत अच्छी तरह से पढ़ा है और बहुत जबरदस्त काम है. तो थैंक यू सो मच. मेरी तरफ से तो ओके है. बाकी आप
थैंक यू सो मच वेरी मच मैम. मैं आपके सारे जो आपके फीडबैक था वो आई इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन माय रिपोर्ट, एंड थैंक यू सो मच सर. थैंक यू मैम. थैंक यू मैम.
थैंक यू सो मच। जी जी बिल्कुल। जी डॉक्टर साहब ये बड़ा अच्छा काम किया हुआ है गौहर ने, जबरदस्त।
थैंक यू। तो अब इसकी ग्रेडिंग के हवाले से आप बता दें कि क्या ग्रेड इसका आप सजेस्ट करती हैं।
मैंने कहा इसका जेन्युइन काम है, बड़ा अच्छा इसने थ्योरेटिकल फ्रेमवर्क बहुत अच्छा बनाया हुआ है। मैंने जो देखा बहुत अच्छे हैं उसके अंदर, उसने बहुत अच्छा किया है नेशनल कंटेक्स्ट के अंदर, इंटरनेशनल कंटेक्स्ट के अंदर। तो मेरा ख्याल है आप इसको A+ ग्रेडिंग दे सकते हैं।
ठीक है, थैंक यू वेरी मच डॉक्टर साहब।
थैंक यू, बहुत शुक्रिया जज़ाकल्लाह।